This is Komets Corner.
If you ever wondered what 3,254 teddy bears or stuffed animals look like on the ice at the Coliseum, you are getting a video look of exactly that. And if you guessed that we're going to be exactly 3,254, you need to buy yourself a lottery ticket, my friend, because that is the exact number of teddy bears that were in the teddy bear toss night and thrown out, collected by Goodwill, collected by, I saw some high school hockey players out there.
Yeah.
They're going to various local charities over the holidays, and we certainly appreciate one of the highlights every year, I think, for the Komets. And of course, that kicked off a weekend of 3 games of hockey. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but I was wondering, as I was watching the teddy bear toss video, what does Shane do during the teddy bear toss? Like, what is the mode of operation for you here on Komets Corner?
That's where we pay some bills. We run some commercials during that time and kind of get caught up on things. And then Fred and I will add our expert analysis, I guess. Gives us time to do that. And then play some commercials. And then I got to say, the cleanup crew at the Coliseum is pretty good. I mean, we get them off there pretty fast. So not much time really in between.
I will say they've got it down to a science with with the sheets and everything that they have out there. Like, they figured it out. It's been a while. But when you talk about Friday night, we're going to go through kind of all the games, but kind of a great bookend to the weekend. You got teddy bear toss night, less than 5 minutes into the first game, and then a shutout win at Kalamazoo on Sunday. In the middle, not quite as great. But overall, how do you look at a weekend like this, able to salvage 2 points up in Kalamazoo on Sunday?
Yeah, that was the big takeaway is that, you know what, we lost 2 tough games at home. It's one of those things where that is one of those mentally draining kind of weekends, because you had a 3-goal lead against Kansas City and you end up losing the lead in the final 2.5 minutes, and you lose in regulation. You don't even get a chance to go into overtime. And that's one of those games where even I, as a broadcaster, usually after a loss, I'm disappointed for 10 minutes, and then I got to worry about the next game. But that was one of those games where I was still thinking about it when I went on the air the next night. And I'm sure the players are doing the same thing. It's a mental toughness, which you all know I don't have.
That's why we do the announcing.
Exactly,
man.
Right. But that's one of those games where it's like, it was such a hard loss to take, and you very easily take it into the next night. And I think Komets did that a little bit in the game on Saturday, because you had basically the same results. But it was kind of reversed, because they didn't have the lead at all. They tied it up in the third, but then there was a penalty called late in the game that, we can talk about the officiating all day.
I know Komets fans weren't super happy about it. But on the Twitter sphere, they were not.
The call, wasn't great, but it is what it is, but it doesn't take away the fact that they didn't have a very good second period when they gave up 3 goals against Kalamazoo, and that was really the difference in the game.
Well, here we are looking at Sunday's highlights, and things get started off well. Blake Murray had a big game. James Stefan from his office looking pretty good on the power play as well. And when you take a look at this Sunday game, you could be, having some dead legs after 3 games and 3 nights, especially with a 3 o'clock start in Kalamazoo. Yeah. But 44-17 in terms of shots. Like the Komets came out, they wanted to win this one. What did you see from this game?
They were highly motivated. After the 2 disappointing losses, they wanted to salvage the weekend, and they came out and played like they pretty much played much of the season. They controlled the pace, definitely controlled the shots. You said the differential there was crazy, and you got good goaltending, you got timely scoring there for Murray, and then Jalen Schmerich, just another 3-assist night, for him, another just day at the office for Jalen. So everything kind of went right on Sunday, but you have to take, especially in this league, you kind of have to temper your enthusiasm, even though we're off to a great start. But things change so fast in this league. We lost Tyler Inamoto and Drew Krebs on the same day. They got called up to Bakersfield. So there's 2 of your top defensemen gone. Jaden Grubb still not in the lineup after getting that slew foot from Brandon Hawkins 2 weeks ago. He missed 4 games. He's still out. He didn't, and Brandon Hawkins did not get suspended. So things like that happen. It really is just a juggling match from game in to game out. And, the Komets responded on Sunday, even with that little bit of a diminished lineup.
Goaltending has to be the most mental position in hockey, I would think.
You have to be crazy to do it, yeah.
Well, yeah, to have guys shoot pucks at you, with, relatively, you do have the equipment, but minimal when you take a look at those pucks flying in at your face. But what impressed me about Sunday was Nathaniel Day, how he was able to turn the page. He just really didn't have it on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, he comes out and posts a shutout. It's the first time I've seen Kalamazoo's ice without a bunch of different colors on it. So maybe that helped. I know I was talking to some of the guys at practice this week, and they were like, man, every time we go to Kalamazoo, the ice is a different color. But Nathaniel Day, his ability to turn the page quickly from Saturday to Sunday and post a shutout over the weekend to close out the weekend. What impressed you about what he was able to do? I know he'd give a lot of credit to his defensemen, but being able to flip the page mentally and get that shutout, what impressed you about that performance?
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. They've been going with pretty much a rotation of goaltenders. So when we got to Kalamazoo and I got the lineup sheet, I was kind of, okay, going back with Daisy. And I was happy about that because I'm sure he wanted another crack at it. And I think, that was probably maybe even his demand. It's like, hey, I want to go here on Sunday and reclaim my net. And I'll tell you what, the first couple of shots that Kalamazoo took were not easy shots to handle. So, that 17 shots kind of deceptive, but because I think Kalamazoo had terrific scoring chances throughout the game, but he came up with some big saves. And we've both goaltenders, they're not used to. You had back-to-back games where he gave up 5 goals and each goaltender let in 5. Not all on them, obviously, but mentally, that's in your head, and to come back and to throw a shutout. Komets now have 5 shutouts this season. That's a crazy stat. When you're only now 3 away from tying the team record here, and we're only in December.
Yeah, 23 games in.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. When you take a look at the chippiness between Kalamazoo and the Komets, do you like to call a chippy game where after each action there's like a little bit of a give and take? Is that fun for you? Because the fans love it, but it takes the game a little while to be played.
In all honesty, if it's the 3 games in 3 nights, let's just keep it going, guys.
Okay.
Let's keep rolling. Let's roll it. Let's keep skating. But no, that's part of hockey. That's what makes it wonderful. That you have that chippiness and you have those rivalries. Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne have now played each other a lot already this season, so they're very familiar with each other. And things got a little testy on Saturday night. You had 3 guys from the Komets, 3 from Kalamazoo. They got the boot there halfway through the third period, and a little bit spilled over into Sunday. But that's what makes this game great, is that you have that chippiness, you have those rivalries, and it can boil over at any minute.
And speaking of one of the guys that really showed up on Sunday, Blake Murray. He's a guy he took a little while, by his own admission, to get things going at the beginning of the season, but he's been really hot the last couple of weekends. We had a chance to talk with Blake Murray at practice last week, and here's what he had to say about playing for his second year with the Komets after getting a little taste at the end of last season after being traded over from Adirondack. Here at the Coliseum with Komets forward Blake Murray. And Blake, you're off to a good start this season as a team and individually. For you personally, what's been the key to kind of picking up where you left off last season, scoring goals and making this team click?
Yeah, it was kind of a little slow start for myself. I scored the first game and then didn't really score for 10, 12 games, and I feel like I've kind of been getting things going again. Like you said, it's been nice. I'm back playing with Albahrani. I kind of got familiar with him last year in playoffs. We had a good thing going there, so it's nice to finally get some chemistry, I guess, back with some old line mates and get back in the swing of things here at home. It's been a very good start so far at home, and it's been good, obviously. The first 11, 12 games on the road, it's great to be back in the jungle.
Komets traded for you in March of last season, so you come in, you play 12 games in the regular season and then the postseason as well. How much nicer is it to be here from day one than it is to be added so late in the season last year?
Yeah, for sure. I was always saying last year I wish I was here the whole season, and when I finally got traded here, just like the first couple of days when I met the team in Iowa, it was unbelievable and very welcoming and great group of guys. So to see a good group of returners back this year, and we added some key pieces as well, and I feel like we got a very deep team this year, and we're just going to keep building every day and keep getting better.
Interesting question. you wore number 41 when you were here last year, but now you're wearing number 9 this year. Is there any history behind that? Why'd you change numbers?
I mean, last year when I got here, they just gave me 41 because I met the team on the road, and that's the only jersey they had. So I kind of, sky's gone this year, so I asked Billy if I could change. 9 I kind of wore my whole life until junior hockey. I wore 92, but Ethan Keppen wore that last year, so I decided to go back to my roots with number 9. So it's kind of nice.
Speaking of your roots, you're from Uxbridge, Ontario. So growing up in Uxbridge, was hockey a big deal? I imagine it is in any city in Canada, but what was it like growing up there? It's about, what, like 20,000 people?
Yeah, it's a pretty small town. I mean, it's an hour outside Toronto. I feel like in Ontario, wherever you go, hockey's going to be priority number 1. So I feel like growing up, I played a little hockey and then lacrosse as well. And then once I got into high school, I kind of just focused on hockey and decided to go the OHL route, and now I'm here.
So I believe you were a 6th-round draft pick in 2019 by Carolina, correct? What was that moment like when you heard your name called? I imagine that's a dream for any hockey player.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Obviously, it was very surreal hearing your name called. I didn't actually get to go to the draft because I wasn't too sure what was going to play out that day, so I stayed home and had some family and friends over, and it was honestly a great day. Just hearing my family go nuts and getting the phone call from the NHL GM was pretty cool.
Okay, so what do Komets fans not know about Blake Murray off the ice? Like, what is something that would surprise people to know about you?
Honestly, I'm a pretty easygoing guy, not up to too much away from the rink. Got 2 good roommates in Harrison Reese and Dustin McFall, so we're always hanging out together away from the rink, playing video games, watching sports, football, like stuff like that. Nothing too crazy.
What are you most looking forward to about the rest of this season for the Komets? Off to a great start, first place. Obviously, you guys want to keep that up and have that number 1 spot in the postseason, but what are you most looking forward to with this group of guys as we go throughout the rest of this regular season?
Yeah, I mean, winning is a lot of fun. Just try and keep playing the same way, and I feel like Jesse's been on us, harping on us about just getting 1% better every day, no matter what the outcome is. Obviously, we want to win every game, but it's pretty hard to do that in the sport of hockey, so I feel like the adversity we face, we just got to learn from that, and it's only going to get harder as we get down the road. So I feel like if we face a little adversity during the season, it's only going to prepare us more for the playoffs.
All right. Congratulations on all your success. He's Blake Murray. I'm Glenn Marini, and that is your local sports report. Good to chat with Blake Murray. I didn't really know his personality, but we were talking about it off camera. It's kind of like a really chill group of Komets. There isn't anybody that's going to stir the pot too much when you're talking about interviews.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very focused group. I've had them on the Komets podcast here throughout the season, and everyone is just kind of relaxed. They're not much talking off the ice, but on the ice. I know a lot of them like to do that, but if we're looking for that Jack Dugan in this bunch. We really don't have that, but Anthony Petrozelli likes to keep things light, so it's a really, really good, friendly bunch of guys.
No Cactus Jack.
No Cactus Jack. Yeah.
So let's go back and rewind to Saturday's game. We've already gone over Sunday's, but Saturday's game, they were kind of looking to bounce back after what happened at the end of the game on Friday. What did you see from this team coming out? Because obviously, they were hungry to take on Kalamazoo after that loss to Kansas City.
Yeah, they didn't come out with as much fire as I thought they were going to. We had a rough second period, and if there's one thing this team is kind of lacking, if you look at the stats, is it's kind of that killer instinct. When you have that lead in the third period, you got to keep your foot on the gas. You look at the goal differential in the first and second periods for the Komets, it's double digits, but in the third they're almost even. And if you look at a team like Toledo, they're almost even in the first and second period, but they're like a plus 13, 14, 15, 16 in the third. So that's sometimes the difference between winning your division and finishing third. So that's one thing that the Komets just need to learn how to win.
That's one of the hardest. I know, people don't talk about that, but we do a lot with high school athletics, and that's the biggest thing with young people, and a lot of these guys are young, is that learning how to win, what it takes in that moment or in that when things get tough. Is that something that Jesse Calicky and this coaching staff can implement over the course of the season, do you think? Or is it just something you learn naturally through the course of the season?
It's something you learn, and that's where you look towards your veteran leadership. That's where the Alex Aliartis and the Anthony Petrozellis and the Jalen Schmericks, guys who have been there and guys who know how to win. Those guys have hoisted cups, so, they know what it takes. So a lot of that, it's just kind of, looking at each other and say, hey, guys, it's third period. If you're in a football game, it's fourth quarter. This is where you win the game. So, there's been so many chances, you go go back to that game before Thanksgiving up in Kalamazoo where they're up 1-0, minute and a half left. They give one up late with the goaltender pulled, and you lose in overtime. Next week, same thing happens in Toledo. You had a lead in the second and the third period, and unable to close it. You lose it in overtime when all you needed was one more goal, just one more, and you probably take care of business. And that happened again this weekend. So that's just part of the growth of this team. It's got obviously a lot of talent. Still in first place. Been in first place for 44 days now. That's a really long stretch, and it's to maintain it. But just little things here and there, and a lot of it is just kind of like the mental aspect. You've just got to work hard in the third period, and you got to outwork the other team.
I was looking at the stats after Saturday's game because I was trying to find a statistic that would tell me how they possibly lost on Saturday, and I couldn't figure it out because, every game this weekend, the Komets outshot their opponent. They outshot them 36-22. On Saturday, both teams were 2 for 2 on the power play, so maybe some special teams could have been a little bit better on the penalty kill. But 98 penalty minutes combined, that also tells a little bit of the story is that, boy, this was another chippy game, and as it mentioned, it spilled over into Sunday.
Yeah, well, it was kind of odd because, the referee didn't call anything really for much of the first half of the game, and then he decided to call everything in the third, and you had, 3 guys tossed out on either side, so now both teams is skating short, and then you had that penalty that still, I don't know really what it was. They called Harrison Reese for roughing when it should have been goaltender interference on Kalamazoo, and that's what I called. I thought, okay, Kalamazoo's going to the box here the final 58 seconds, but it was not to be. They put it on the Komets. And, again, you don't want to put that on the officials because these officials, even in the heat of the moment, as we know that they are also just kids. They are about as young as these players, so they're learning the game as well. But you look at the ending of the game on Saturday, and the Coliseum kind of ruined it because it was a hard bounce off those new boards that gave them the game-winning goal. It came off a rocket off the brand new boards. It came right to a Kalamazoo player right in the slot, and it was an easy putback. So. Those are the bounces. That happens. But you know what? Yeah, this team just has to shake it off. And really, this year they have. I mean, this was the first time we've had back-to-back losses in regulation. So they've done a very good job of responding after a loss.
We're taking a look now. You mentioned some of the young guys, young officials. One guy that's not so young, I'm not going to, knock him for it, is Taylor. Obviously, we saw him last year. Saw him for a long time in Kalamazoo. He's with Albahrani. On Saturday night, he set the ECHL record with his 885th game played. What do you remember most from Justin Taylor's time here? It was only one season, but you saw him a lot as an opponent. Is there one Justin Taylor story out there that Shane Albahrani can tell on a family program about a guy who now is number one in ECHL history with those 885 games played?
No. Tails is pretty family friendly. He's a family guy, and he's a guy who just you can look up to. I mean, he is just a class act. We had some great conversations last year, but even when he played for Kalamazoo, you couldn't help but not like him. I mean, he was just a great player, and glad we got to get him for a year. I mean, he was kind of in and out of the lineup, but it was great to have him here at least for a season. Great leadership, just a great individual, and so happy that he was able to get another opportunity because kind of the things that he was left off the playoff roster here in Fort Wayne. He's at the tail end of his career. I'm so happy that he got a chance somewhere else to break the record.
Are you surprised, because you take a look at the way the ECHL has gone compared to other leagues the Komets have been playing in? Youth is kind of served in this league. So is that a record that you think maybe that never gets broken the way that things are heading in this direction? Because 885 games is that's a pretty long stretch there.
Yeah, you know what? Hockey's changed. Anthony Petruzzelli played in his 400th game as a Komet, earlier in the month, and he's not even in the top 20 in the Komet history, so it's just few and far between now. I mean, that record has been broken several times over the last 5 or 6 years. It's kind of gone back and forth. So it is possible. I mean, you look at a guy like Jalen Schmerich, who's 28 years old. He has played basically every game since he's been in this league since he's about 19 years old. So it just. It depends on if you're hungry enough. The body holds up, and of course, money's always a factor. A lot of the guys who get out of the game early, it's for financial reasons. They don't have two-way contracts. They're on ECHL deals, so they're gonna go out and get a real job. Like the rest of us. So, well, not me.
Overrated. Adulthood overrated. But it's funny that you mentioned like durability as an issue, because when I see Justin Taylor, the first thing I think of, he's just very lithe and very like he's not like a huge hulking dude.
Well, yeah, and if you look, I mean, he has had seasons where he was in and out of the lineup last year at the Komets. There was a season where I think he missed close to the full season, and he's had some injuries. So it's like he could have broke this record maybe 2 or 3 years ago if he was been able to stay healthy. But hey, it's a rough game. I mean, you're going to take injuries, and if you're able to hold on and you're hungry enough, you could hit that mark. So, no, I mean, wonderful for Tails to get that record. I'm very, very happy for him.
Let's take a look at Friday night's game, because obviously people were excited. It was the teddy bear toss. 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 35 seconds? Is that right? 4:25. Yeah. Is that the early?
Sure.
A little less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We don't have to pinpoint it. Is that the fastest teddy bear toss?
Oh, that's going to be a question for the archives.
Okay,
that's a Fiona question.
She would know, right? Yeah. I mean, because it felt instantaneous.
Yeah, teddy bear toss is nerve-wracking. Every team does it. And it's maybe the most nerve-wracking night of the season for any team, because you don't want those bears left in the stands.
Well, what happens after 2 periods if you haven't scored? Do you toss it?
No, you would. The rule is that if you're shut out, you throw them at the end of the game.
Okay.
So at the end of the game, you get to toss them out. But boy, that's not going to feel good.
That's super anticlimactic.
That's just sad. So every team stresses over this, and that's always the back. Every team in this league will have a meeting before teddy bear toss. Okay, here's the contingency plan. We have never had to do that since we've been doing this. I think maybe this is maybe our 10th time we've done it. So good for us, and it's always nice to get it out of the way early so you're not stressing for the whole game.
I'm sure it's happened, but I can't remember a time where you guys haven't got it done in the first period.
I think we've gone to the second period before, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've stressed out a little bit, but I don't think we've ever gotten to the third.
There you go. That's all you really can ask for, right? When you take a look at this Komets team, heading into the weekend, kind of what was the vibe around this team? Because you're talking about a team that's played a lot of hockey really over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they knew they were going into a 3-game weekend. So against the Kansas City team, you really don't see that many times over the course of the season.
Yeah, we're going to get a chance to get back at them in January. We're going to go out to KC for a couple games. And that team, Kansas City, is a great measuring stick. They're a really good hockey team.
Okay.
That's a team you're going to have to beat down the stretch. I mean, that is a playoff championship caliber team right now, right there. So, it was disappointing, but you know what? We came out and we played really well in the first period. Obviously got 3 straight goals. They got back in the second period, but also like the start of periods for the Komets has also been an issue. When we get in this relaxed mode, we give up that goal like in the first minute or 2 of the period. And then now they have got all the confidence and a lot of time left. So it just comes back to good starts and good endings to periods. And, the middle part will take care of themselves. So, it's a grind. We knew this season was going to be a grind, and the guys have very much kind of accepted it, what we're working with here. And, we get to turn right back around and play a Wednesday game in Bloomington with first place on the line. So every night we're playing for something. It's been great.
The 7 games in 10 days over the Thanksgiving break, essentially, and now you've got everything going on with New Year's and Christmas. A lot going on, a lot to process, and Jesse Callaghy throws a new baby in there as well, so he certainly got a lot on his plate. We had a chance to chat with Jesse at Komets practice last week, and here's what the head coach had to say. Here at Komets practice with head coach Jesse Callaghy. And coach, you guys have 3 games in 3 days this coming weekend, looking to carry off some of the momentum that we've seen from this team early in this season. What's the key to putting together a big weekend this weekend with 2 of the games here at the Coliseum on Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, I think just embracing the challenge of a really good team coming in here Friday and then playing 3 games in 3 nights. After one after another. So that's kind of the physical challenge of it, and that's kind of how we're tackling it. But we're looking forward to Friday against a really, really good team and seeing where we measure up.
Okay, Friday's teddy bear toss night. You went through a teddy bear toss in Toledo last weekend. You get to do it at home. How much fun is that for you and the guys? I know it stops the hockey for a second, but a really cool moment for people here in Fort Wayne to kind of support local charities as well.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun when you're at home. It's not as fun being the visiting team and being pelted with teddy bears, but I think it's for an awesome cause. we know the fan base here in Fort Wayne is going to do an awesome job supporting the community and supporting the Komets. So always a fun night. Our players look forward to it, and excited to see who gets the goal.
When you take a look at this roster, I mean, really talented from top to bottom. How do you make sure that everybody gets enough ice time? I mean, there's only one puck out there, but how do you make sure that everybody is, on point, knowing that, man, there's guys that are healthy scratches that can really play the game of hockey?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of mouths to feed, but I think the one thing I would say about our group this year is they're very selfless. All these guys have put the team before themselves, and like you said, we have good players that are scratched every night, and I think it's made our group very competitive. Internal competition and just seeing that from the guys has really held our group to a higher standard. So we'll continue to try and drive that as much as we can. And but at this level, you deal with call-ups, you deal with injuries, and you never know what your roster is going to look like. So we're grateful for the depth while we have it now, and try and win as many as we can.
Okay, so this will be your son Axel's first Christmas. Have you done any Christmas shopping yet? Because we've still got about a week and a half.
No, we're he's 3 weeks old, so we're still working on a little sleep right now. Yeah, it's cool that it's going to be his first Christmas, and there's some snow on the ground. So very, very lucky, and really looking forward to getting through this stretch. We got a busy stretch here before Christmas break, but getting to spend some time with my family.
All right. Appreciate it. And best of luck this weekend. 3 games coming up, including Friday night against Kansas City with the Teddy Bear Toss. I'm Glenn Marini, and that is your local sports report. All right. So Jesse Kalicki, excited about Christmas. Let's take a look at the standings, because that has been a Christmas gift early. If you're a Komets fan, you mentioned, 44 days in a row?
Yeah,
the
yes.
Komets have been in first place? What does that mean to the Komets? Because you've been the front runner, but you take a look at Toledo and then a game against Bloomington this week on Wednesday at Bloomington. Those 2 teams are tightly packed when you look at the top 3 teams in the Central Division at this point.
Yeah, it's a race. I mean, we were all 3 tied going into last night. Komets get the win. Bloomington loses to Kansas City 2-1, and Toledo is idle. So now the Walleye, they've got that game in their pocket now. But look at Cincinnati. I mean, if they can get their goaltending kind of figured out, they're going to be a tough out. I mean, and then you've got Indy still, obviously still in the mix. We're going to play them next Friday, and Cincinnati on Saturday. So every game in this division is a battle. I mean, we've played a lot of Kalamazoo. I think we played them 7 times now. Granted, they're in the bottom, but you know what? That's a team that never quits, and we've learned that. And then a scrappy Iowa team, even though again they're struggling, but still they are still going to be a tough team to beat. So every night it's a battle. The Central Division, I do like to brag that the Central Division I think is the toughest division to win. Even though Toledo has done it, I think for the past decade, and that is I think is kind of one of the focuses of this team. It's like, you know what, Toledo winning this division every year is ridiculous. Let's finally get it to Fort Wayne and let us have home ice advantage.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule for this upcoming week. 3 games, Wednesday night at Bloomington, and then you come home Friday, as you mentioned, against the Indy Fuel, Saturday against Cincinnati, those 7:35 start games at the Coliseum Friday and Saturday, but a Sunday off. Shane Albahrani, what are you going to do with the Sunday off, my man?
I don't know. It's probably Christmas shopping. Because you know what? I don't get very many chances to do that here leading up to the holidays. So I think that's probably what is in the cards.
When you take a look at this week, what's the focus on Wednesday night when you go into Bloomington? Because that's obviously starting the week off. You want to get a victory, and you want to continue that momentum from Sunday against Kalamazoo. So what's going to be key early in that game to make sure that the Komets are ready to rock and roll this week from the get-go against Bloomington, 8 o'clock on Wednesday night?
Hey, they're just going to have to be ready to play. I mean, this Bloomington team is, we've beat them once, but it was at home. It was a home opener, so the emotions were there. This is going to be on the road a Wednesday night. I don't know what kind of crowd they're going to have, so it's going to be not quite at least the atmosphere. But this Bloomington team is hungry. They're really talented. They're physical. We've come out and shown that we can play physical as well. Hopefully we're able to get, maybe a defenseman back from Bakersfield. Having Jaden Grube out, that has also been a little difficult to deal with. So there is going to be a juggling of the lineup, but hopefully there's going to be some more pieces back in the lineup come Wednesday.
Krebs, was he supposed to be back on Sunday? Where are we at with him?
We are still waiting for Drew Krebs, but hopefully he should be back soon.
Okay, and his equipment needs to be back.
That is correct.
What I'm gathering, right? Like that's an important part of it. You need skates and sticks.
Yeah, you know what? That's another thing people don't realize what we deal with in this league is that guys bounce back and forth a lot. And You throw in the weather, you throw in other travel issues, and sometimes the player gets here and sometimes the equipment doesn't. So that's not the first time that things like that have happened. I've got some great stories about that. And that's,
we got a whole nother, we could kill a whole other half hour with that.
Yeah.
But when you take a look at this week, we got 30 seconds. What are you most looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to see how we respond. It was a rough weekend. We get a big win Sunday, but we're going to turn right back around and play a big game on Wednesday. First place is on the line, and I think holding first place has been awful. It's a point of pride for these guys. They don't want to relinquish it. They don't want to share it. So going into Wednesday night is going to be a big, big night. And then, you got to be ready for Indy and Cincinnati Friday and Saturday. You can't, and I always worry about that last game before the Christmas break.
Sure.
We have played some horrible games on that game before because guys are already on their sleighs, checked out. They are on their way home. So I always worry about that game. So we need to be ready come Saturday night against Cincinnati.
All right. He's Shane Albahrani. I'm Glenn Marini, and that is Komets Corner.
You're watching Komets Corner.